everyone. Um, the intro question for today is: what are some of the shadows you identify in the TC DAO space that sometimes we avoid talking about? This is something that has come up from last call where we talked about reflecting also on the things we propose, because everything we propose has a shadow, and also the way we try to achieve our goals. And uh, we said that Gravity should be a safe space to express what people think about, and also to make this safe review of our own processes. So yeah, my idea, and I will start with this, is that sometimes we don't talk too much about the we about the inclusion to different public. And I think that that is something that can be improved, that all the time have promotion to people to get in our project. But well, I really think that it's very good that right now we're trying to include people, like by promoting content in other languages, like in Spanish and in Chinese. But I feel that, yeah, that our community can be more inclusive, from people even that is not so crypto native. And also so I noticed that yeah, we can be we talk about radical inclusion, but I really think that we can be even more inclusive, and even including people with certain disabilities. Like, yeah, how can we promote our content to people who is colorblind, and how can we promote our content to people who is deaf? So yeah, I think that we can improve more in inclusion, even though that we try to talk about uh, being radically inclusive. And well, I will pass to Durgas.
Sorry, guys, I'm not feeling well. I went to the dentist this morning. I'm still half frozen and a little unwell feeling from that. But one thing I will bring up is I'm I'm kind of a little bit sad, a little bit angry, a little bit worried, because I know that there was a huge group of people that went to ECC, and a bunch of them came back with COVID. Now, you know, so it seems like the people who have it, you know, we're not talking about it that much, and it's just, I'm sad because I just wonder if it could have been prevented. I'm angry because you know we're not talking about it, and I'm worried because now I wonder if all of the people who came down with it as a result of coming to this thing are going to have lifelong implications and problems that never go away because of their participation in this one event. And I just wonder if it was worth it, you know. So, um, and I just, I've noted a tendency to, because we're coming to the end of the hatch and everything, to be all like, hey, we're all awesome, we all did great things, and yeah, that's all true. But the fact that so many of us went to ECC and came back with COVID is a fucking disaster to me. Do you know what I mean? And it's just strange to me that we're not talking about that more. Like I'm kind of devastated by the fact that that happened, and it's just strange to me that I have almost no place where I feel like I can talk about that. So that's just my feeling. So thank you for that. And I'll pass it to Lauren.
I sort of just jumped in and I missed the context. Maybe do we want to pass to somebody else first, and I'll read the notes again?
Yeah. Is what are some of the shadows you identify in the TC or in the DAO space that sometimes we avoid talking about?
I can jump in. Interesting about ETHCC, that was incidentally sort of where COVID started in crypto. That was like when it was first, like last year or 2 years ago or whatever. It was that event. So I thought when I heard of so many people getting COVID there, I wondered about that connection. But back to the subject of shadow, and it may have even been Durgadas who mentioned this to me before, but I think I've come across elsewhere that as far as the shadow, like whatever stuff that I have been really upset with other people about, have been things that I needed to be looking at inward about. And yeah, I don't know how specifically that relates to token engineering commons or any of the DAO work, but that would be probably a worthy exercise, even if we just came up with like a gripe fest to like, what are all the things that bother us about other DAOs, other organizations, and then we could use that to like turn inward. But I think that's all I got for that. Back to Lauren.
No, I don't have anything like so great to say yet. I'm still sort of like pondering upon it. I think it's really interesting just to have the perspective of like when we when we criticize others, like what does that also mean about ourselves? And I think that it's like sometimes easier to point out like the problems of other DAOs and like look upon ourselves more favorably, but it's like also an opportunity. And I think like I don't know if it's necessarily a shadow, but I think that seemingly like a negative tendency in like the whole DAO space is just like that everybody gets so excited about what we're doing that we spend like a disproportionate amount of time with our devices, and then like maybe this like affects negatively like other elements of our lives. And I do the same thing. I'm like pushing hard and wanting to be on my computer all the time. But I noticed that it's like, oh, you know, I really spend too much time sitting, and I, you know, don't spend enough time in nature. And I think it's sort of hard to achieve that balance when like so much of the work that we do is online. But yeah, I guess those are the only things I can think of right now. I'll pass it to Mitch.
Sorry, I just joined. I need to process that question for a couple more minutes.
I had the same feeling. Okay, I'll pass it to Metaverde.
Hey, the thing that I've been kind of on about in my head the last couple of weeks is the idea that there are any like experts in token engineering at this stage and people getting presented as experts. I don't think people are self-describing as experts, but I don't see, I mean, the field's just not that old, and so I think the shadow is kind of people like looking on other people in awe or deferring to them, or I don't know. everybody has an opportunity to be really, really good at this if it's something that they want to do. And I haven't, to be an expert, you have to have actually produced the thing well in my paradigm. Like, you can study something all you want. Like, I can read all the books I want on horse training. I can watch as many people as I want to riding horses. I can even get on horses and ride horses and take horses to horse shows. But if I haven't actually trained a horse, I'm not an expert horse trainer. And I feel it's the same thing with token engineering. Like, you can write all the books you want on it. You can read all the stuff you want on it. You can do all the studying you want on it. But until you've actually created tokens that do what you think they should do, then you're not an expert engineer. And that's kind of my thing. It's just a couple different things I'm on. People, like, they have ideas for tokens, but then they kind of like back down and they're like, I'm not an expert. You know, we really need an expert in here. And I'm like, dude, you're as good of an expert as anybody else. And that's it. That's what I got. That's my shadow. It's just kind of the hierarchies that we create in our minds. And I'll pass it to Lauren. I don't think you've gone yet, Lauren.
Oh yeah, I just went actually.
Oh, you did? Oh, that was you. I'm so sorry. I'm such a
No
dork.
worries.
I so apologize. I so apologize. I'm on my phone, so I like not seeing the icons very well. Let me see. Mitch, did you go?
I have a couple points. I'll probably have more, but one thing in the TEC is definitely a lack of actual token engineers here, and I feel like we hear a lot about them, and they make huge contributions, often to multiple DAOs, but as the token engineering commons, I rarely see them in the channels and contributing. And I think that contributed a lot to what went down in the praise debate. I'm not going to go into that in this call, but that's something that I noticed, and maybe it was that disconnect that contributes to some of the contentious issues that we have. My second point for DAOs in general is just figuring out where to start, because there's literally a million DAOs over there, and they all do it differently. And walking into a new one is just a maze and a minefield at the same time, and it's really hard to figure out how to contribute to these DAOs. I will pass it to Nate.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch.
This again with salt and vinegar, and we're passing further away.
Verde, you're not muted. Something about salt and vinegar.
So I guess I can't really identify something within the TEC necessarily. The one thing that I've been thinking about a lot ever since ECC Paris was this concept of trust, especially within the greater DAO space. I think it's kind of a universal shadow that we all have when we work in these DAOs, as that, you know, we want to create this trustlessness, this system of trustlessness, or minimize trust. And it's a scary proposition for a lot of people to participate in a DAO where you can't trust people. But what may be even worse is the fact that, you know, we create this kind of artificial illusion of trust amongst each other within the DAO space, where we say, okay, we've worked with you for a long time, and the great thing was I got to meet a lot of you, and you know, I got to get to know who you were, talked with you in person, like got to know the substance of what you are, and you know, and in the back of my mind, it still was never enough. You know, it's kind of like it's hard to avoid this like hidden agenda fear, you know, like this paranoia of like what you know, what am I getting myself into, or what are these, you know, what do they think about me, and so on and so forth. And so like there's this illusion of trust that we create for each other that may not be rooted in truth or fact. And so it's something that stays on my mind a lot of the times. I think it's a very interesting concept, and I think it sticks with most people, whether they want to admit it or not. And so that's one of the shadows that I think is pretty universal within the DAO space. With that, I'll pass it to Griff.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of shadows that we don't talk about, mostly around conflicts that are there that just are deeper or understand. Like, I don't think there was a lot of conflict around the praise debates, and yeah, it was like in some ways very clear, like in there, but I don't think we really dove into it as much as we could have or should have. I think those, although it got more like than probably other more limelight than probably a lot of other issues. I don't know. I think there were some really good points. The token engineering, lack of token engineers that are there are good. I think like there's probably a lot of uncertainty and doubt around like funding for people who are working full time here, and that's something that we're trying to sort out because the common stack is eventually going to stop funding people in the TEC unless they're doing common stack work, and the TEC is going to have to like manage its own funding, and that's like that's a really scary position to be in for a lot of people to like, this is your salary, this is your pay, and now you have to like go in and hope that people vote on it. Very scary. And along that, I think we're going to see shadows around the popularity contest stuff that naturally enables. That's going to be a little scary. I almost want to say also what Meta Verde says, like this shadow of, I'm not good enough to propose or vote for my own params and like really promote them as the best params. I think that's only a few people really felt like they could take the leap and have the confidence to say, you know what, I'm proposing this, and I don't care if you think I'm a token engineer or not. I think these are great parameters, and here's why. I hope that we can overcome those shadows for the next round. And with that, I think I'll pass it to Livia.
Thanks. Yeah, I got here late, but I'm reading the ones that were mentioned already. I think the funding one is a big one, especially because I think people have different relationships with money that just come from this like messed up traditional system, and as we move towards different systems, there is a lot to like unlearn there and still find ways that people are at least subsidized to have a living and participate in DAOs. And also something I have been having trouble with lately is onboarding people from the non-DAO space to DAO spaces, in a sense of like people that have expertise about certain topics that we talk about here, but there is a lack of clarity on how they could be compensated. And it feels like there is a long time of just like getting involved and giving time for free, in a sense, until you start to see like your value being compensated in a financial way. So that's still something that can get smoother. And there was something else I was thinking. I think just have a blank now, but maybe I'll leave at that.
Okay, I think everyone went, and I prepared this question because last call we talked about that there's a lot of shadows that we don't talk about that much, and that sometimes we continue with some patterns that are like socially um, like accepted, and that doesn't mean that they are good for us, and that there are still some structural boundaries and some historical inequalities that we are want to overcome. But yeah, we still need to include more people into the space, and there are a lot of like boundaries, and there are a lot of judgments that come from the different positions that they um, that sometimes we repeat, and maybe unconscious, but um, I think that bringing them to consciousness is the way we can work them. And in the last call we talked about even like misogyny, or like a lack of inclusion of people from different races. And yeah, I think that by understanding and by openly talking about these topics, we can include them, and try to find ways to not repeat what we are maybe unconsciously repeating, and also try to look for solutions to what we are trying to bring into consciousness.
Can
Can I
I
make
add
a
one?
proposal about this?
Yes, Livy, and yeah.
Go ahead, Libby.
Sorry, I'll pass to you quick, Durgadas. Also, language has been coming up to me. Like, is English going to be like the only language where DAOs operate in? How to make that transition for including other languages, and how inclusive we want to be with that? What would be the overhead needed to start translating some materials and involving people that can lead initiatives in other languages, and how to continue bridging the information being produced in other language DAOs whenever they exist to like the larger ecosystem.
So I have some technical things I could say about that that might be helpful at some point. Like WPML, for example, with WordPress, exists as a way to help translate. And um, can I say what I was going to say before?
Yeah, of course. And then we will jump into the topics of this call.
So yeah, so the idea about the study group for NVC is a good one, and I was thinking that it might be a situation where if you sort of have things you want to talk about in terms of shadow things you want to bring up, or whatever, like, ECC is done and dusted. I can't do anything about that. So all of my feelings about how that was set up and the risks involved with coronavirus and my worries and all that, I just need some place to voice those things. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to, do you know what I mean? Like, so maybe an NBC call, between people who've been through the NVC book study group, could encourage then a place to air that type of thing. And Livy's mentioning of misogyny, and how can we inoculate ourselves against that type of thing, so to be both proactive and able to clear the air about some things, and just have it happen on a regular basis where people can know what to expect and participate. That's my proposal.
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, I wanted to propose you in this call that as the Graviton training will be moved to Tuesdays, this hour that we are currently on will this space will be available if we want to make a study group for MBC, and we can even make a book club about Marshall Rosenberg, or any um, writer that you think or that we can consent that would be a good exercise to practice nonviolent communication in the group. So yeah, the proposal would be that maybe we can start even a little bit before the second Graviton training to have these Thursday calls for the book club. And also, now that we are talking about schedule, I also wanted to say that Thursdays, and that I really want to start having a session on Tuesdays to start using that schedule, that same schedule that we will have after SoftGov for the Graviton trainings, to do to prepare the Graviton training, because yeah, I feel that from what I have tried to understand and to make insights from the sense making that we have been doing, I think that yeah, we need to have like some syncs, and I don't want to have like that much like my footprint in what is going to be the training, and I want it to be more of a participatory process. So yeah, I will start trying to have these sessions on Tuesdays after SoftGov to prepare the Graviton training, because also in the article that we're trying to write, the new the article for the new Graviton training, yeah, we mentioned some steps uh, that I really would like to follow, and not just like to mention them, but like to actually follow them. And it's like here, like outlining what we are going to start. I really want to have like a good expectation setting for the Graviton training, to have informed to like really go through to this process, so that we can have a really great course, and also to curate the information, because we have been talking that it's not good just to have like the scope of alternative dispute resolution, but that it would be good to include other topics. So yeah, I want to have and to propose this schedule for making the for preparing the second Graviton training. And yeah, I am also really proud that for this training we will have new facilitators, and yeah, I think it will be amazing. And also, one of the things that I was talking with Anna Marie and with Livy is that yeah, we want to promote a lot this Graviton training in a lot of communities, because yeah, we need to continue developing our own community of and strengthening the relationships between Gravitons. So yeah, I think that now we can move from the schedule, and is that we will prepare these Thursdays a study session or a book club for of MBC Thursdays after community call, and the Tuesdays after SoftGov we will prepare the Graviton training, because yeah, it's just that I feel that I could like sit uh, and spend some hours like preparing a study plan, but that would be like my point of view, and yeah, I don't want the training to be my point of view. I want it to be a really participatory process, and I think that there are so many great topics and so many great ideas that I have heard from the facilitators, that it would be really good to have like one shared scope, one and one clear end of the Graviton training, so that each session can be like coherent and to be like connected for what we want to impact, and the idea that we want to that we have behind the training. Does someone want to participate in this moment, or we will pass to another topic? Okay. So the second topic is around transparency. Is a question, and should Gravity make forum posts about the cases, or offer complete privacy of the information?
I don't think we should do forum posts about the cases.
What?
I think it should be complete privacy of the information.
Okay. Yeah, I also think that it's good to have complete privacy. I have heard from several participants, and that's why I brought up this topic. That yeah, that maybe it would be good for Gravity to sometimes like inform the community of of how things were handled, or what were the outcomes of issues. But this was a question that I wanted to have advice process on, because I also think that maybe if we make a forum post or if we inform about the things that we're handling, um, maybe even if we try to not name things, or not naming persons, or like making a very brief comment about what happened, maybe that if it's not like well written, maybe it can be misunderstood, and maybe even cause more conflict, and also people can feel doxxed. And yeah, I actually think that it's a good thing of Gravity to offer complete privacy, and that also um, motivates people that when they to enter the process, and to not feel like exposed, and to feel like secure, that the information that will happen, or the things that will be talked will not be talked outside of the meetings. So yeah.
So I kind of fall on the opposite end of that spectrum. Uh, I do think transparency is very important. I think that privacy in the immediate short term is really important, and I agree that when something happens within a small community, and you were to post it, even if you're not saying names, you know exactly who they're talking about. So it's like not immediately being reactive about it, but a year later you can post that conflict, and it'll bring extreme value to the community in terms of what to look out for when these types of problems arise, and how these things were handled, and maybe you can mitigate some of those problems from ever happening in the future. So I do think there's an extreme value with being transparent and contributing to forum posts that say this is what we experienced, this is how we handled it. But then again, it's up to the discretion of the Gravity group to actually make that decision and say, okay, by posting this, will this, uh, impact other people? And if it does, then absolutely not. You maintain that privacy as strong as possible. But I don't want to say like just complete privacy all the time, because I do think there's a huge value within providing transparency and educating the community and normalizing it.
Who also wants to answer the question?
Yeah, I think I agree with Nate. Like maybe I'll also talk with the people that's involved. Like if they agree, like showing the case, like when it's possible, and when it's not, it's not. Like just respect people, and maybe like, oh, Gravity had 3 cases, 2 were solved, or 1 is still looking at, like, or maybe some failure. Like I don't know. Like for example, if someone leaves the DAO or something, that would be a failure, and it's nothing to ashamed. Like sometimes we fail and it's fine. Like just I don't know, have some report on how is it going. Like just to not have it like fully mystery. Like I don't know, like Tether for example. Like it's full of mystery. They have all the dollars they say they have. We don't know, and it creates uncertainty. So yeah, maybe shows like what's possible, and yeah, of course you have to respect the privacy of the members. But if you ask them if they agree with, and yeah.
And I will just say that I don't think they have to be forum posts, but I would like to see like a database of like conflicts that happen in multiple DAOs, not just ours, that can be compiled and say, okay, here are some common conflict points that most DAOs engage in, and how they're resolved. And so you just kind of have this kind of database of conflict management that your Gravitons can report to. So
it seems like a 10,000-foot non-personal, non-situation specific kind of reporting could be good, just so that it also promotes Gravity as that we're doing things and that we're trying stuff, and instead of going, hey Juan, what's going on with Gravity, to have like some regular place we could look and see what's going on. And if one of those reporting points was that we did work with this DAO or that DAO, would be good. Additionally, I'm just thinking toward the possibility that Gravity would become its own DAO, and how is it that we would go about setting that stuff up, so we may want to start thinking in terms of systems and complexity, with an eye toward that thing too.
Yeah, maybe I think that this would be risky, but yeah, that's why I am looking for advice process, but because I don't want to stay with my initial thought. But it's just that yeah, I think that one good value of reaching out to someone that offers you a safe space is that you can have privacy about it. And I also don't want to like promote like being seen as a judge, because we are not judges in Gravity. We are more facilitators of dialogue. And if we like make a statement about something, we are giving like our vision of the thing, but maybe each part can have its own vision. And also I think that privacy is good, because it like disencourages gossiping. And but also there's people that think that if we don't like make an official statement, or if we don't comment about it, we are encouraging like a small chit chat between groups. But yeah, my initial stance is that if we can keep things like only like the information only available for the people included, and who is like affected by the case, I think yeah, that like that's good, because yeah, I don't want it to be like a gossip club where or where people like go to hear other people's problems, or yeah, or maybe that someone don't want to go to Gravity because maybe they will feel that they will be exposed. So yeah, but that's what like my initial stance. But I also think that maybe for educational processes, if we have agreement for certain cases, that can be like a role play that can be good. And maybe we can have like a very large scope overview of our insights from handling conflicts. But I really don't encourage like talking about any situation in particular. um, yeah, because that can also like touch sensitive topics that are better handled like only with the parts involved. Like yeah, if I divorce, maybe I think that yeah, that's not a public thing. That's something that the people that is around me, that yeah, I can tell them, or the people who sees and like interacts with the thing, yeah, they notice it, and if I want to tell them, I will tell them, but I don't think that there should be a third person like talking about it, and we in Gravity would be this third person. So yeah, I think that yeah, the it's not for a third party to be talking about others' conflicts, and that's why I am very like um like on the side of complete privacy on this issue. But yeah, as I have heard that there are different points of view, I really want to have advice process on this.
I shared my some of my thoughts with Juan before, but I think I don't think they are excludable. I think we can have privacy on all of the parties involved and on the character of the issue. So like nobody needs to know that the issue is about a divorce, but since the community is funding this process, I think it's important to know who were the Gravitons responsible for cases. So cases could have numbers without like any type of information that people could link one thing to another, but just to know that like who are the people taking care of things in the community, and this promotes trust. And if I know that like maybe I have no idea that Mitch was the Graviton of like 3 cases, and because I don't know, then I don't know I can approach him. Like but then if people are like participating and if I see their name, then maybe I can approach them and trust. And I think also the processes used is something interesting to share with the community. Also for that to like so people know if they have a conflict, like what kinds of processes are being used, what are the ones that are most frequently used, how like what were some of the challenges that come up that need to be brought up to like Graviton trainings to be discussed in a focus group. So like maybe there is one case that like went bad, so how to like find solutions for that collectively without talking about the person or the issue, but maybe just a little bit about the behavior that happened or some of the patterns that we start seeing in multiple cases. I think there are ways to like study and improve on the process without disclosing any private information.
Yeah, and I think we should make a good effort to come up with a really good balance of that, you know, because if we're going to spread it around to other DAOs or be trustable, you know, having a very good, clear sense of that would be excellent.
Yeah, who wants to give a thought about this? Okay, so yeah, I see like a polarity, like to complete privacy, to transparency, and one they are not excludable. So yeah, I see like a full range of answers, and yeah, that's great about the advice process. And but I also take some insights from this consult process. Like yeah, maybe for educational, that it's good to identify boundaries and have balance, and also to promote some behavior analysis, like what to avoid, how to promote best practices, what are some of the challenges, and what are the processes being used. Like yeah, I feel that step by step that we have some blog posts that explain what are the gravity steps, like what is the observation form that we have, the mediation form, what is the mediation process, and even how do we try to like cycle conflicts. But yeah, maybe there needs to be more promotion and more interaction with this, because yeah, I think that at least and more decentralization, because maybe I am clear about it and I think that it's shown in this, but they are like cold information that needs to be like better explained and better like transmitted to people. And I also want to say in this call that this is the first generation of Gravitons. So actually, any of these people can be an access point if you have any conflict in the community. It's not just me, and I want to like be clear on this, that like maybe I am the steward of the Gravity working group, but that doesn't mean that I am the only one capable of managing situations in this community, and that if you have any issue or that can be like private or with someone in the community, you can talk to these people, because yeah, they went to the Graviton training, and most of them are part of our community and are very engaged. So yeah, the idea is that all of these people can be access points for like to for you to reach out if you have any doubt, any question, any like yeah concern about what will happen. Maybe you're stressed about, yeah, maybe that in some months your the funding strategy is going to change and you don't know what to do or how to like adapt. But yeah, all of these people should be available for you if you have any of these issues, and should be also um, supportive to try to help you manage that situation. And maybe sometimes when we are in distress, um, just to talk with someone, it's good, and to receive their point of view, and maybe they can help you out to find how to improve your project, or maybe they just give you like a word of bravery to so that you don't like lay your head down, but that you like raise your chin and that you regain forces to like um, face change. That sometimes change is difficult for us. Every change that we do, like even moving from a city, changing a relationship, change is difficult. And sometimes yeah, we underestimate how other people can help us to understand, to face change, and to make us feel like understood, heard, and to make us feel that what happens to us is not like we are not the only that ones that live certain things. And yeah, sometimes it's most when you talk to someone and when you open to someone, you can understand the empathy that the other people feel, that they have gone for the same paths that you are going through, and that maybe they had the same uncertainty, and maybe and yeah, they can give you some advice on how to manage stress. And yeah, I think um that these people should be available for the community for any situation. And like yeah, when we open to someone, we can develop also a deeper relationship. So the all of these are people who is like yeah, an access point for the community. So yeah, I wanted to promote this here. And yeah, we are getting to the top of the hour, so I will go fast on these topics. And the first one is that I made a mediator's self review, self reflection form. And the idea is that when you are a graviton and you mediate in a case, this is something that will be given to you, so that you can reflect and self-review, how you did in the mediation. Initially I was thinking if the parties should evaluate the performance of the graviton, but then I thought that it was better to have like a self-reflection from the graviton, and like, yeah, how did you do guiding the mediation process? How did you do using separate and joint discussions, reflecting and working on emotions, identifying needs and interests, encouraging communication, generating new ideas, encouraging processes, overcoming obstacles, communicating respect and empathy, remaining neutral and coming across as neutral, supporting party self-determination. Yeah, so, and these things, this question, like things you did particularly well in this mediation, things you would do differently next time, what did the parties need from you, what is a peer-reviewed mediation, was it a peer-reviewed mediation? So yeah, I think that this is new. We haven't used it, but I think it can be something useful for the next mediations and for the next mediators to like review their work, because until now what I have done is when there is a case, I ask support from any of from one graviton, and then we like close the case, and okay, maybe we reached an agreement, maybe we didn't reach an agreement, but there was no like review of the process, and yeah, I want to integrate to have a review after each mediation, so that the mediators can improve themselves, and also maybe when we have like a gathering of gravitons, we can um, yeah, like make insights of how to improve, and what are some of the weak spots that we are noticing from our mediation practice. And I adapted this from a Resolution System Institute document about evaluation of mediations. So yeah, I think that's important to have. And there are two other things to do that are I really want to make a Gitcoin grant, but for that we need a web page and a Twitter. So maybe, yeah, in the short term it would be good to have like a Twitter of Gravity, and also if we are going to design the web page of, or if we are going to have an advice process, to use one of the web pages of the TEC where it mentions Gravity, and also to have an advice process about the Gitcoin grant. I feel that it's a good idea, and also to start receiving some funding. But yeah, if anyone is not in favor of having a Gitcoin grant, they can voice it out this right here, or maybe in another moment. But what do you think about the idea of making a Gitcoin grant? Am I talking alone? Does
I
someone agree,
Yeah, I
disagree?
think
I
you should
don't
do
I
a
don't know how to
Gitcoin
do
grant.
anything related to Gitcoin.
I think, yeah, I think it's always good. Like if you present it well and people wants to fund it, like why not?
Okay.
Are there any downsides, potential? Uh,
Yeah, I think that maybe we should have an advice process, because we were talking about this in the Stewards call, in the last Stewards call, about how do we use the TEC brand and the mark. So yeah, maybe it would be good to ask if we can use the TEC brand or not, or the TEC logo or not, to like at least say that we are born from the TC, but that we are like becoming our own project of its own. Okay, and the last topic for 2 minutes to let you go is that right now we are in our third roadmap, and we have had a first roadmap where we like grounded the idea of and like how to provide accessible, easy access conflict management. In the second roadmap, we like did the Graviton training, and like we polished out some of our internal processes. But there are some like bullets things to do, and we also made a third roadmap that includes the second Graviton training. Then that includes initialize DAO discussions and look for extra funding options. But I feel that these roadmaps are designed for 3 months, and that after the 3 months there's not like clarity about what's going to happen or what needs to be done. So I would really like to propose during this third roadmap to try to have like a like a long scope roadmap, because like yeah, we are right now working each 3 months like setting new goals, but it would be like good to have like a, I don't know, a year or a 2 year roadmap where we can like not only follow like short-term goals every 3 months, but try to connect with a bigger purpose of the project. But yeah, this should be done in another call, and we're in the top of the hour, and I really thank you all for participating, for hearing me. Like, I love you. You are the best. And yeah, thanks everyone.